Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot today, November 8th, 2024. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful evening. Let's give a shout out to people in the chat. Good to see you, Nikosmas. Beatnik Bulba, much love. Gandhi, much love. Carrie, much love. Great to see you, Holler Haint. D-Love, much love. Christy, great to see you. Isaac, great to see you. Daphne, much love. Taz, good morning. All right, amazing. Thank you guys for joining. This is wonderful. So let's start by talking a bit about today's astrology. So we're still in that moon in Aquarius. And this is beautiful energy, right? The moon in Aquarius is that outgoing, communicative energy that wants to express itself, that wants to be its unique self, that wants to connect to people in flow, that wants to move and embrace community. And you combine this with that powerful sun in Scorpio, that energy of going to the depths to truly know oneself and to truly express oneself. You can really connect to people in an incredibly deep, moving, and intimate way. You know, you can really learn to express and to accept people for who they are. So embrace that energy, get out into community, and feel this moment. And I wanted to talk a bit about the title here, Ride the Waves of Imagination. When I was thinking about this, I was flipping through my tarot and I drew the moon card. The moon card. The moon represents that deep unconscious. It represents that reflective light in the self, that divine feminine, the powers of creation that begin in imagination, that begin in the dream, right? And it's about connecting to that dream and embracing potentiality. Everything that exists had to have been imagined first. And every good idea begins with a dream. You have to have the power to dream and to dream big. And those dreams can and do become reality. But it starts with that imaginative flight of fancy. Right? It begins with that reflective gaze upon the light of the moon, that embrace of the divine goddess, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I wanted to read to you guys this poem. It's called Home by Madison Julius Kawine. I dream again I'm in the lane that leads me home through night and rain. Again the fence I see indents, the garden wet and sweet of scents. Then mother's window with its starry line of light o'ergrown with rose and trumpet vine. What was it I heard, her voice a bird singing? Or was it the rain that stirred the dripping leaves and draining eaves of shed and barn? One scarce perceives past garden beds where old-time flowers hang wet, pale phlox and candy tuft and mignonette. The hour is late, I cannot wait. Quick, let me hurry to the gate. Upon the roof, the rain is proof against my horse's galloping hoof. And if the old gate with its weight and chain should creak, she'll think it just the wind and rain. Along I'll steal with cautious heel, and at the lamp-lit window kneel, and there she'll sit and rock and knit, while on her face the light will flit, as I have seen her many a night and day, dreaming of home that is so far away. Upon the pane, dim blurred with rain, I'll knock and call out home again, and at the stride fling warm and wide the door and catch her to my side, mother, as once I clasped her when a boy, sobbing my heart out, her breast for joy. Beautiful energy, connecting to that depth of the Divine Mother. Beautiful. That is what that home is. All right, let's go now to our Ganapati Oracle. Ganesha Ganapati is the divine child, the Lord of beginnings, the guardian of the threshold, the master of Ganas. And we ask them to send us an inspiring message and ensure that our words are heard by those who need to hear them. So, Ganapati, what is the inspiring message? Generosity. Generosity. Wow, beautiful energy. Mother energy again, right? The loving freedom of giving of the self, of giving of excess, of sharing, right? Of sharing, of selfless action, right? Generosity is that looking and seeing another in need and acting, right? It's about recognizing need and doing something, giving of the self, making a sacrifice, right? Every offering to the mother, to the goddesses, to the muses is a sacrifice, is generous, is a generosity, right? You take your time for another, you invest in another's well-being. You have the wherewithal to think and acknowledge the other, the world around you, and you try to do something to make a difference, to make a change. That generosity is powerful, powerful magic, right? It is only through community that we can truly create something. And it is only in community that we can gain that all-encompassing reason, right? And that is sustained by generosity. It is sustained by those who are willing to give, even in times of dire straits, even when they are also in need. Beautiful energy. All right, let's continue. We are now going to go to our sortes. For those of you unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature, and it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. We invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and we ask them to guide our hand and send us an inspiring message through the text. So muses, what is the message from the divine comedy in Dante? Inspire us. For a while I supported him with my face, showing him my young eyes, I drew him with me, directed towards the right goal. For a while I supported him with my face, showing him my young eyes, I drew him with me, directed towards the right goal. This sounds to me from the perspective of the muse herself. I supported you with my youthful gaze, my young eyes. I drew you with me, directed you towards the righteous goal, the right goal, that true will. Beautiful. Let us continue. All right. We are going to go to The White Goddess by Robert Graves. So, muses, what is the message from the White Goddess? Inspire us this evening. Since pentagons are inconvenient figures for a sheker, compared with squares and hexagons, the number 5 must have had some important religious significance. Who's the 5-pointed star? Venus. And she makes the pentagram in the sky when she goes about her yearly cycle. Of course, it's of great religious significance. Inconvenient figures. Interesting. Let's continue. Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Muses, guide my hand. Inspire us this evening. You might make a joke on that, said the little voice close to her ear. Something about you would if you could, you know. A little voice whispering in your ear. And in the text, the words appear quite tiny. You might make a joke on that, said the little voice close to her ear. Something about you would if you could, you know. You might make a joke on that. You might learn to laugh and let it go. You might move and flow and embrace that divine laughter. Voice in your ear telling you to lighten up and to make a joke. Now that's beautiful. Let's continue. All right, we're going to go now to Byron, selected poetries and letters. Muses, what is the message from Lord Byron? From the loud roar of foaming calumny to the small whisper of the paltry few, and subtler venom of the reptile crew. The Janus glance of whose significant eye, learning to lie with silence, would seem true. And without utterance, save the shrug or sigh, deal round to happy fools its speechless obloquy. Whoa. The loud roar of foaming calumny. Immediately think of the goddess Venus, Aphrodite. To the small whisper of the paltry, as paltry few, to the small whisper of the paltry few, and subtler venom of the reptile crew. Wow. The Janus glance of whose significant eye, Janus is the Roman god of doorways, the guardian of the threshold. Similar energy to Ganesha. Learning to lie with silence would seem true. Learning to lie with silence and without utterance, save the shrug or sigh. Deal round to happy fools its speechless obloquy. Their goddess is silence yet again. Interesting. Let's continue. We're going to go now to Edgar Allan Poe, The Telltale Heart and Other Writings. Muses, what is the message from Poe? Inspire us this evening. For 3 months a night has not passed, during the greater part of which I have not been engaged personally in ransacking the D Motel. For 3 months a night has not passed, during the greater part of which I have not been engaged personally in ransacking the D, and then there's a long dash, hotel. Wow. 3 months without night, constant day, leading to ransacking and violence of communal space. But the narrator remains removed. Makes me think of just this idea of the flipping of conflict and staying out of it as the wildness sets in, being that observer. Interesting. All right. We're going to go to Aldous Huxley, Brave New World. Muses, what is the message from Huxley? Inspire us this evening. He shouted help several times, more and more loudly, so as to give himself the illusion of helping. Help, help, help. To give himself the illusion of helping. Are you screaming into the void? Do you think that your screams are doing much? Are you only just patting yourself on the back, giving yourself the illusion of action? Wow, what an intense rebuke. Let's continue. Women who run with wolves. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Muses, what is the message from women who run with wolves? What dies? Illusion dies. Expectations die. Greed for having it all, for wanting to have all be beautiful only. All this dies. What dies? Illusion dies. Expectations die. Greed for having it all, for wanting to have all, to be beautiful only. All this dies. Because love always causes a descent into the death nature, we can see why it takes abundant self-power and soulfulness to make that commitment. Death do us part. Wow. That's beautiful. To make a commitment What does that mean? Goethe, Faust. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Goethe and Faust? By heaven, there goes a maid of rarest beauty. I never saw a girl more exquisite with such an air of goodness and of duty, and yet the metal of a lively wit. Her cheeks soft light, the crimson of her lips, will shine for me outlasting time's eclipse. For on my soul she printed as she passed her looks so tender-eyed and so downcast. And in her brevity, when she replied, she seemed enchanting youth personified. That divine Virgo on full display in all of her beauty descending from heaven. By heaven, there goes a maid of rarest beauty. I never saw a girl more exquisite with such an air of goodness and of duty, and yet the metal of a lively wit. Her cheeks soft light, the crimson of her lips, will shine for me outlasting time's eclipse. For on my soul she printed, as she passed, her look so tender-eyed and so downcast, and in her brevity when she replied, she seemed enchanting youth personified. That energy is upon the earth. Can you witness her? All right. 3 tragedies. Lorca. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lorca? Several times during the wake, I had to cover her mouth with an empty sack because she wanted to shout out to you to give her dishwasher to a drink at least, and some dog meat, which is what she says you feed her. Dog meat. This makes me think of the goddess Hecate. And this is the second time I've got a sore taste with several. Several times during the wake, I had to cover her mouth with an empty sack because she wanted to shout out to you to give her dishwater to drink at least, and some dog meat, which is what she says you feed her. Are you neglecting that goddess energy? Wow. Several times during the wake with an empty sack. This is intense slavery. Wow. Wow. Let's continue. Paradise lost, paradise regained. Milton. Muses, what is the message from Milton? Inspire us this evening. Plant of the field, which ere it was in the earth, God made in every herb. Before it grew, on the green stem, God saw that it was good. Dionysus, my friends. Plant of the field, which ere it was in the earth, God made in every herb before it grew on the green stem. God saw that it was good. That green earth fertility, Demeter, Priapus, Dionysus, the fruit of the earth. Beautiful. Wow. Continue. The bell jar, Sylvia Plath. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Sylvia Plath? Inspire us. Why didn't you quit? Oh, I did quit more or less. I stayed off work on sick leave. I didn't go out. I didn't see anyone. I stowed the telephone in a drawer and never answered it. Have you quit? Have you gone through your hermitage? Have you done the work of digging into the self, of silencing the self, and of sitting? We are often called to that hermit energy, and the hermit energy is that energy of Virgo in the tarot. I didn't see anyone. I stowed the telephone in a drawer and never answered it. I didn't go out. That time away in darkness. separation. It is in separation that we can go deep into the self. It is in that meditation that we can listen to the silence, right? And recognize the goddess's name is silent. Let's continue. All right. L'Autrement, Malador, and other poems. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lacan de L'Autrement? Lacan de L'Autrement. The royal kite has wings which are proportionally longer than a buzzard's and a far more effortless flight. So he spends his life in the air. So he spends his life in the air. The royal kite has wings. And what we see is that what I'm getting here is this image of privilege, the image of being able to fly high in the mystical realm, to disconnect oneself from the earth, to not bother with the plights of those below, to be too caught up in one's personal enjoyment, personal freedom, that experience of flight, right? It is beautiful, but one must come down. One must come down, right? Interesting. Royal kite. All right, let us go to the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu. Muses, what is the message from Lao Tzu? Inspire us. Music's 5 notes, the ears as death can make. The flavors 5 deprive the mouth of taste. The chariot course in the wild hunting waste make mad the mind in objects rare and strange. Sought for men's conduct, will to evil change. Wow. We were talking about the 5 earlier, that number of Venus, the pentagram. Now we see that 5 return. Music's 5 notes the ears as deaf can make. The flavors 5 deprive the mouth of taste. The chariot course in the wild hunting waste. All have 5 points. Make mad the mind in objects rare and strange. Sought for men's conduct, will to evil change. It flips the poles, right? This is that energy that confuses the mind, that mania. Who is mania? Mania is the mother of Larry's. Aka Laurentia, Diamuta, Larissa, Lala, that great mother. The mother of the gods, Cybele, right? Make mad the mind in objects rare and change. Sought for men's conduct, will to evil change. When you try to possess things, right? When men try to possess, will to evil change. Wild. Okay. We are now going to go to Don Juan in Hell by Bernard Shaw. Muses, what is the message from Shaw? Inspire us this evening. Yes, and this civilization, what is it after all? After all, an excellent peg to hang on your cynical commonplaces on. But before all, it is an attempt on man's part to make himself something more than the mere instrument of woman's purpose. So far, the result of life's continual effort not only to maintain itself, but to achieve higher and higher organization and completer self-consciousness is only at best a doubtful campaign between its forces and those of death and degeneration. The battles in this campaign are mere blunders, mostly won like actual military battles in spite of the commanders. What utter nonsense. Oh my gosh. After all, an excellent peg to hang? No. Civilization is something far more greater. To make someone more than the mere instrument of women's purpose. What does that even mean? Wow. Interesting. All right, let's continue. We are now going to go to Magician's Land by Lev Grossman. Muses, what is the message from Lev Grossman? But it is. He stopped walking and looked me in the eye. It is everything. What else is there? This earth? He picked up the dead cricket ball and threw it as hard as he could. Listen, will you come and get me? Wow. But it is. He stopped walking and looked me in the eye. It is everything. What else is there? This earth? He picked up the dead cricket ball and threw it as hard as he could. Listen, will you come and get me? This is a call from the muse. Recognize the all. Recognize that energy in everything. Recognize the connection, right? One and the many, both are true. Can you see her through the faces, through the masks? Right? We saw her earlier in the sortes as a young maid walking down the street. Why do you think at the center of so much of Greek culture in the ancient world was about being kind to strangers and welcoming people into your home through hospitality? Hospitality is one of the center points of the Samothracian mystery. You have to invite them into your home, right? Every Roman worshipped the Lares. Let's continue. All right, we're now going to go to 10 Plays by Euripides. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Euripides? Inspire us this evening. Oh, here are fresh sorrows, succeeding sorrows, still fresh for our land. Helpless wives of the Trojans, you see here the body of Astyanax, whom the Danaans have slain, hurling him, O cruel throw, from the battlements. Here are fresh sorrows, succeeding sorrows, still fresh for our land. Hapless wives of the Trojans, you see here the body of Astyanax, whom the Danaans have slain, hurling him, O cruel throw, from the battlements. How many feel like hapless wives, hapless under the force of battle, right? That sorrow, those fresh sorrows, succeeding sorrows, still fresh for our land. But we are meant to feel the sorrows and recognize the pain. You have to see what happened and what is happening and what will happen if you want there to be change. Oof, intense. All right, let's continue here. What do we want to do? We are going to go to Alan Chapman, Magia. Muses, what is the message from Alan Chapman? Inspire us this evening. If the soil is prepared, if the garden is tended, then a new flowering of eternity is possible. Wow. That's amazing. What a beautiful message. That is the 8 of Discs, Prudence on full display. If the soil is prepared, if the garden is tended, then a new flowering of eternity is possible. In the face of sorrow, you do the work. You tend to the garden. You pick up and you try again. And you tend that earth, and that earth will produce new fruits, new seed. Beautiful. All right. I think that's enough for our sortes. We're now going to hop over to our tarot. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out to me, snappydts@gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord as Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right. Thank you, guys. And today we are going to use the Tabula Mundi Tarot of M.M. Moline. And we are going to invoke that energy of Saturn Chronos. And we ask them to dissect our life, to cut it up and expose it upon the plate, to show the interconnection so we can learn how we can best move and forward, how we can rise above the conflicts, and how we can manifest our true will. And as always, that center card is our most important card. And today's center is Two of Discs, transformation, change, building into the earth, going into the earth. And here, look, you have the hourglass. The time is restarted when you flip the poles and you begin anew, toiling the sand. Beautiful. What's that change working towards? If we wish to truly embody change, we must become the Knight of Cups. We must embrace that outgoing, loving energy, that mature energy. The Knight of Cups is the one who wants to give and share in reciprocity, who has the strength to go and be in that communal space, to share with loving kindness, and to connect to others. And this is that energy that we need to embody if we wish to manifest that change. We have to have compassion and strength, the strength to be compassionate in the face of anger, right? In the face of uncertainty, in the face of doubt. The night prevails, their cup remains, for they are sated by the love of the muse. Let us continue. And what is that change about? We had this the other day. It's about manifesting that tower, beginning in the beginning, in the roots of the earth, allowing it to take shape through our collective unconscious effort. We give birth to the child to come, Harpocrates reborn, the divine androgyne in the earth who brings that silence down. The Virgo returned, Saturn's reign returned. And it begins with an idea. It begins as a project, something that you can manifest together with that strength of love, that communal outpouring, the one who can convince others to give and can give freely. This is what will bring the change. And it starts with that idea put into practice. Let's continue. Princess of Wands. Who brings the change but that divine Medea energy, right? The Princess of Wands is that muse upon the earth, that inspiring fire, right? That child that must be nurtured so that she can ascend the heights. And in that earth of fire, it is about bringing that passion into the earth, transforming, inspiring, building something incredible, like the walls of the city itself. But that energy must be nurtured, must be tended in the earth. Where's this going? Wow. Not only do we see the Princess of Wands, but now we see the Princess of Swords, that same incredible, passionate child, that energy of the goddess, this time as that justice coming into the earth, that high-minded ideal, right? New ideas, new perspectives, new imagination that must be nurtured and inspired. We're seeing two aspects of that Virgo, bringing passionate, lustful change, bringing imaginative, creative change, coming together for fire and education, to do what is necessary to change with that strength. Where's this going? Beautiful. the devil. This is about walking that Capricornian path of ascension, climbing the mountain, doing what is necessary, having the strength to go through that long and winding road, to go through the struggles, to adapt and adjust, right? This is the power that will allow us to nurture these energies to their fullest extent, allow them to ascend that mountain and be placed once again among the stars. Beautiful, transformative, powerful energy, right? And it is about following that passion, knowing what we need to do. We need to ask the devil to raise them, to bring that energy and help them, those children. This is about the next generation, about generosity, right? About using that power for something greater than the self, something that will exist beyond the self, that'll bring true inspiring change. Let's continue. 5 of Wands, strife. We overcome that conflict, right? We overcome that 5, that strife. We've been seeing the 5 a lot. It is that Venusian energy, but it is also an imbalanced energy. It's an energy that moves beyond the 4, which is a stagnant energy, but it is still not in that middle of the 6, that perfected middle path. So we see this strife is this inability to walk the middle path. But we also see here that the key to overcoming this strife is to embrace change, to flip the poles, and to be in that inspiring, fiery, passionate energy of drawing that passion into the earth, of using your passion to inspire building and creative output, to literally do that change. And we have to go up against that strife. We use that strife, just like we were talking about yesterday, that grief. We use that energy, that negativity. We saw this in the sorties as well, that suffering. We take that energy and we use it to fuel us in the building of this change. And that's how we become that Medea, right? Medea uses that anger, that desire for justice, right? That strife, she uses that to flip the poles, right? Let's continue. 3 of Swords, sorrow. Another energy we see connected to the princess. How do we overcome the sorrow of the present moment, right? The pain of recognizing, where people are at in their own world, where the world is at, this selfish, self-centered being, If anything, the current events of this globe have shown me just how much people are disconnected, how much they can be plagued by fear and doubt, and how much they can be manipulated. And what we see is that in order to overcome this energy, that sorrow, that pain, right, we have to be that knight who brings the love, and we have to nurture that next generation who will bring new ideas and new ways to overcome this sorrow, right? We overcome this by creating her, by giving her the tools necessary, by developing and moving past it, not embracing that sorrow, but channeling that energy to protect and to serve the next generation. And we saw this yesterday too. This is the whole top row is energy that we are overcoming, that we are moving past, right? The Prince of Discs, heir of earth, that immature energy, the man who is stuck in the dirt but has his head in the clouds and is totally divorced from the world around them. Even as that strife and that sorrow come to plague him, right? We overcome that energy of the prince when we embrace that devil and we do something about it. We start working, we start trying, We ascend the mountain, we build the tower, but it is going to require effort. The prince will have to take his head out of the clouds and become that knight and work and do it for real. Not just talk about it, change. All right. I'm now going to flip the cards so that we can see the full layout. But once again, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does help out. It boosts everything in the algorithm. I really appreciate it. It's good karma and a lovely blessing. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, you can reach out to me, Snappy, ddts@gmail.com, or find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. Here we go. So here is our full spread. So we're going to start here with our knight, right? The key to overcoming that sorrow is to be that knight. And that knight is going to teach and work with this princess of swords, with that loving communal energy, that reciprocal sharing, that emotional maturity and strength, right? Rising above the muck and being true. We get over this pain by being that outgoing force, right? Being the one who does something. The key to the knights is all of the knights do, right? And what does this knight do? The knight of water, the knight of cups, he spreads love and has the strength to engage others and to be that heartwarming bringer of love and kindness, right? And she needs that. She needs that nurturing energy so that she can overcome the sorrow, right? Let's continue. The two of discs, that change comes when we can channel that strife, when we can be that Medea energy, and we can use this strife to make us move. In our darkest moments, we draw down the chariot of the sun and we get the F out of Dodge if we have to. But we don't stop there. We keep working, we keep fighting until we ourselves are an empress by our own means, and we build the greatest city the world had ever seen. The Ace of Discs. We overcome this prince energy. We take responsibility when we commit to building, and we do it. When we engage that Luciferian energy of wisdom and we ascend the mountain, right? You know where you have to go. You know what needs to be done. Imagine it and do it, right? Get your head out of the clouds and come back down into the earth, right? It's all about building, imagining, creating that new foundation that will sustain us, that will flip the poles, that will bring that change. All right, let's now look at our crosses. We overcome the sorrow when we invoke that Luciferian energy, right? We need to gain wisdom. We need to advance this energy. We need to move this into the four of truce so that we can see things clearly. And then we need to continue to push forward through the 5 and into the 6 so we can gain that success. And with that middle path of the 6, that success, we can ascend the mountain. And then here, look, change. That princess energy, taking responsibility for her is what will bring that physical change for this energy. How do we mature, grow up, and take responsibility? By nurturing the next generation, by doing something practical, by recognizing responsibility, right? By, instead of working for yourself, you work for her. Do it for her. Do it for him, right? That child to come. All right. That's the message, everyone. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. Okay. All right, we're going to do one final sword taste, and then we're going to call it an evening. So here we are. Byron. I'm losing my voice, so we're going to make it quick. Muses, what's the message from Lord Byron? Inspire us. I saw them, and they were the same. They were not changed like me in frame. I saw their 1,000 years of snow on high, their wide, long lake below, and the blue Rhone in fullest flow. I heard the torrents leap and gush o'er channeled rock and broken bush. I saw the white walled distant town and whiter sails go skimming down, and then there was a little isle which in my very space did smile, the only one in view. A small green isle, it seemed no more scarce broader than my dungeon floor, but in it there were three tall trees. O'er it blew the mountain breeze, by it were waters flowing, and on it were young flowers growing. Of gentle breath and hue, the fish swam by castle wall, and they seemed joyous each and all. The eagle rode the rising blast. Methought he never flew so fast. As then to me he seemed to fly, and then new tears came in my eye, and I felt troubled, and would fain, had I not left my recent chain. And when I did descend again, the darkness of my dim abode fell on me as a heavy load. It was as is a new dug grave, closing o'er one we sought to save, and yet my glance, too oppressed, had almost need of such a rest. Wow. Sometimes words speak for themselves. All right. Peace and love, everyone. Take care.